Season 3 of KPRC2 Investigates docu-series The Evidence Room is in production right now. We go box by box in the Harris County Archive looking at criminal cases to show you crimes in a new light. This season, we are trying several new things, including adding investigator Amy Davis and myself into the mix. Amy, along with investigative producer Andrea Slaydon, is here to talk about this upcoming season. You two collaborate all the time on consumer stories, so it made sense to collaborate on The Evidence Room. Yeah, no, absolutely, it does. We work really well together. I'm on all the consumer investigative stories that you see. It's something that we've produced together. But so for The Evidence Room, Andrea's been involved in day one in all of those episodes, and this is the first season that I'm tackling one, and so
yeah,
love it.
Yeah, we are so excited. I mean, we were talking about how do people know? You know, once a case is over, people involved in the cases take everything, put it inside boxes, load it up, and then we go in and we, hundreds of boxes started looking at them. And when we pulled down one box from a well-known Houston case, we said to the team, like, let's do this story. So then that's when we pulled Amy in.
I actually said, I want to do that one. We're talking about Clara Harris.
Right. Oh,
I was like, I want to do that case. I mean, and so if you've been in Houston for any length of time, it's nationwide, you didn't even have to be in Houston, then you remember that case. So it was in 2002, and Clara Harris was convicted of killing her husband, running him over. And so, it made headlines all around the country. When we opened the box, it's like, oh, what's going to be in here? Really, I think what everybody remembers from that is just the video that they saw over and over. So sort of backstory, in case you're not familiar with it, she and her husband ran a successful dentist practice in the Friendswood area, and she found out he was cheating on her, confronted him and his mistress at a hotel. It was actually the Hilton Nassau Bay, and when they were coming out of the hotel, and that was the time in 2002 that she hit him with her vehicle. And so then we see this video footage. I mean, 2002, not everyone, there weren't surveillance cameras everywhere and Ring doorbell cameras, so it was just sort of a, oh wow, there's video footage of this crime. Actually, what you're seeing now are some of the things though that we saw in the box. What we think is more interesting, because everybody's seen that video over and over, but these books were books that were submitted into evidence because they were kind of showing that they were supposed to be working things out. I mean, she didn't just find out that he was cheating that night. She had known about it, and she was trying to work on her relationship. He had said that he was leaving this other woman and that they were gonna keep their marriage intact. They'd been married for 10 years at that point. And then pictures of her that I had never seen before, I'd never seen on a newscast, because that night when she confronted him and the mistress in the hotel, he pushed her. And she actually had bruises, and so these are some pictures from that.
In those photos,
Yes, and you see it there. So we kind of want to go through all that and go over the story. Now, it's also significant because that was 2002. She served time in prison. She got 20 years. She served 15 and then was released on parole, and then her parole was up in February. So now she's completely served her time. She's off parole. She's out of prison. Just able to sort of live a normal life. She's done her time. This
is your first opportunity working on an episode for The Evidence Room. What was it like getting access into this vault, if you will?
Well, Andrea should talk about that, because actually, she's seen the vault and gone in there, and I just saw things from Clara Harris's file. So what she was explaining, and then I'll be quiet, is that after a case is closed, after everything, all the appeals, everything has happened, then we can view those items, right? So it's just sort of I would say treasure trove, but I mean a lot of things that people find really interesting in these cases. So your question again was, what was it?
What is it like? What is it like having access to these items?
I mean, as a crime junkie all my life, when I was in there, it was just, there's rows and rows. I mean, like a room the size of a gymnasium almost. Yeah. It's rows and rows, and you're walking along and looking at the boxes. Some are like, 1960, and you can tell like that hasn't been opened since 1960, or whatever. Besides the boxes, and we've shown this before, is just a lot of the evidence sitting out. I mean, like
things that won't fit in a box.
Yeah, things that won't fit in a box. There's like a bicycle and stuff hanging from the ceiling, and like a whole entire tub full of like rakes or whatever. And so
that obviously at one time was very important to a case.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, do you know how long they hang on to it? I mean, because obviously these cases are closed for years and years.
And it builds and builds and builds.
And we hear in some cold cases, well, those are cases that haven't been through the court system. But I mean, all of these have been through the court system, and they're there forever. And this woman, and maybe you can talk about her a little bit. I mean, is just sort of also this, almost like this historian, because she takes care of all this stuff.
She has a good memory. And there were some boxes, which I thought was interesting, that they completely took, it looked like they took a whole roll of clear tape and just completely taped the whole entire thing, the whole entire roll, and then put sealed, like never to be opened. No one's ever allowed to open it, which I thought was kind of interesting that they still had it like in there like that.
Fascinating. Yeah. We know, you say you've been a crime junkie your whole life. We know there now more than ever before is an appetite for these types of stories, this type of reporting. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think with the evidence room, we started and we were like, let's go check it out. Let's plan a few little things to do on. And then once we started it and we saw how much people liked it, we did season 1, we did season 2, and
now
then
season 3.
Our boss was like, let's do season 3. And we're like, heck yeah, let's do it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really mind blowing when you see these items.
Right. Yeah. And I think the appetite for it too is, you see the stories and the headlines on the news, and then they sort of go away. But then I think the appetite is everybody wants to know sort of more, like the inside, like what did we not hear in that, minute long, 2 minute long news story, as we watched it. And so these are sort of the behind the scenes. When all of these things made headlines, we couldn't show you these boxes because the case was still going and we didn't have access to the evidence, and now we do.
And people couldn't talk as openly as they can now, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
With these types of stories. Also new this season, I'll be taking part in, I believe, the final episode of the Evidence Room of Season 3, and we'll be launching a segment called Z-Files, and Z-Files will be taking a look at cold cases specifically within marginalized communities. I took it upon myself a few months ago to meet with a few folks that has led to great opportunity throughout the greater Houston area, talking with people, loved ones of victims of cases that have gone cold. And as you know, these are people, these are family members and friends who just want resolution. They want some sort of conclusion in their loved one's case. And so I went to our bosses and I said to them, I think there's an appetite for this too. And so talking with Anna Lostra, executive producer, she said, I think there certainly is a need and we can work this in. And so, we will be talking with loved ones of victims who were murdered years ago.
And that's so important because hopefully through you telling that story and then bringing the case back up again, it gets more exposure and possibly we can solve some of those crimes.
Yeah, so a lot of new things happening with season 3, very exciting things. I know folks wanting to watch seasons 1 and season 2, they can do so, right? It's streaming right now.
Yeah, it's like they can binge watch them all this weekend, because starting tonight at 7 o'clock on the KPRC 2 Plus app, you can watch it, but then every night through the Memorial Day weekend, you can watch leading up to the debut of season 3 next Wednesday at 6:30. Yeah.
On KPRC 2. And then from that week on, a new episode will debut each Wednesday at 6:30.
Yeah.
Oh, very, very exciting.
All right.
Thank you both for coming in.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it.